business is a pledge of allegiance. And we have Abby Long, who is the pledge of allegiance.
She's not even listening.
Your allegiance to the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, then we will accept the agenda as presented here. The next item are commendations. Student commendations, we will start with the middle school this time.
Perfect. We would like to call up James Ward as our middle school student.
Here's your certificate, and here's your Medal of Achievement for being amazing.
All right, from Mrs. Davis. James is the kind of student who makes teaching feel like the best job in the world. He's responsible, respectful, and ridiculously impressive. And this Student of the Month recognition is just the beginning of all the good things coming his way. Academically, he works hard and never backs down from a challenge. Whether it's writing an essay, solving a tricky problem, or participating in class discussions, James gives it his best, even when it's Monday morning and the rest of us are still waking up. His work ethic is solid, like could probably lift a small car solid. Oh, and did I mention he's athletic? Whether he's on the court, the field, or just sprinting to class before the bell rings, this guy moves like he's got his own highlight reel. Keep being awesome, James, and maybe let the rest of us borrow a little bit of your energy sometime. From Mr. DeLong, it's a pleasure having James Ward in my PE class. James is an outstanding young man and student. James is a great role model for the other students in class. James is always on task and works extremely hard in all activities. Keep up the great work, James. From his art teacher, Mrs. Korn, James is a pleasure to have in art class. He's always on time and does exactly what he's supposed to be doing. I have observed James working well with his peers and offer help to others. James is a quiet soul, very sweet and very kind. I enjoy having him. All right, and then there's a couple more on the back, but we'll save those for you.
And I get the wonderful pleasure of doing Employee of the Month. And for this month, it's Morgan DeLeon. The one with coffee. So our first comment is this one, and then I'll tell you who it's from afterwards. Truthfully, the fact that it's taken me this long to nominate Morgan is a shame. She has worked at Nissa Middle School for the past 13 years and has always put students first. I've known Morgan was a great counselor, but in my current role, I've come to realize that she isn't just great, she's phenomenal. Morgan regularly takes on our students' deepest and darkest challenges and helps guide them toward a better place in their lives. She has never wavered in her dedication and consistently puts Nissa students at the center of everything she does. In addition to her role as a counselor, Morgan has gone beyond her comfort zone over the last 2 years by serving as our girls' middle school wrestling coach. Her leadership has not only inspired confidence and growth in our athletes, but also resulted in doubling our participation numbers. This is a true testament to her impact. It's pretty simple. Morgan is willing to help our students in any way she can, and that support goes well beyond the hours of 7:45 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you ask Morgan to help kids, I guarantee she won't be asking about compensation. She'll simply say, let me figure it out. I said it like you say it. Morgan has become a true pillar in our counseling community, and we are incredibly grateful to have her here in Nissa. Bobby DeLeon. And then one more. Morgan DeLeon is a breath of fresh air. She is kind and understanding towards kids and adults. Students adore her and feel like they can go to her with anything, a good quality to have for a school counselor. She has saved the day more times than I can count. Though sometimes she feels like what she does isn't making a difference, she definitely makes a world of difference for our students and families here at the middle school. I'm glad I work in a school where there is a Morgan DeLeon. Sarah Sapp.
Alrighty, and volunteer of the month, we have Jacob Anderson. Jacob is our volunteer rugby coach, so he's coaching rugby for Nissa Middle School. They started all the way back in the fall. He started having them come into the classroom to watch film, just so they could understand the game of rugby. Practice twice a week after school, games on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock at night. So as if his life wasn't busy enough, he decided to bring rugby to Nissa Middle School, so we were so happy to have him. We invited some of his rugby players to come and share what they have to say about Mr. Anderson. So come on up, guys.
Sorry, can you still see? Okay.
Mr. Anderson has been so willing and has been doing his best to helping his students and his athletes. Just like today, where even when his wife is super pregnant, he still showed up to practice. Mr. Anderson is awesome. He taught me how to play rugby. He is a good science teacher. I also learned some gardening skills from him.
Mr. Anderson makes me feel super welcome and wanted. He's very patient and makes every student, not just myself, feel understood. I know that he starts the day very early and ends it super late, but in no way does he let that mess with his teaching. I'm always excited for second period because Mr. Anderson makes it easy. He's also a great rugby coach. I'm glad I found out about rugby because of him.
Thank you so much. And I'm excited to know we're having some rugby. I enjoyed that game. Next, we will have the elementary school.
Our first student of the month is Roy Ramos. Would you come up, Roy? After we read this, I thank Mrs. Ramirez for helping with the translation. Come over here, Roy. We'll share some things. Mrs. DePron says, I've had the pleasure of teaching Roy for 2 years. His journey has been a path of perseverance, determination, and self-motivation. He has made the effort to own his own educational progress. Roy's quiet personality is contagious to those near him. He models great student behavior and respectfully reminds others if they are not doing the same. Set the stage, Roy. You have great things ahead of you. And Mrs. DePron.
El estudiante de mes es Roy López Ramírez. La maestra de prom quiere que sepamos, papás, que ha sido un placer tener a Roy por 2 años, que él es uno de los estudiantes que siempre muestra perseverancia, determinación y motivación. Siempre hace el esfuerzo de tomar control de su propio progreso y su personalidad es tranquila, es contagiosa para todos los que lo rodean. Es un ejemplo con excelente comportamiento como estudiante y les recuerda a los demás estudiantes con respeto que tienen que hacer lo mismo que hace él. Fija tus metas, Roy, porque es una persona que hace cosas muy grandes. La maestra de campo.
Our 3rd through 5th grade student is not here this evening, but we're going to go ahead and read his write-ups, and then we'll give him his certificate in his classroom tomorrow. Our 5th grader is Joaquin Candelas. Joaquin is a hardworking and trustworthy student. He always follows instructions and always has a positive attitude. He never complains about any activities that we do in class. Joaquin strives to do his best and never fails to turn in his work on time. From Mrs. Ashby. Joaquin, you have grown in not only your academics, but also in your self-confidence, your leadership, and being an outstanding student who shows others how they should be. You welcome new people, you are helpful and accepting, and you have learned to advocate for yourself. You are amazing, and one day I will be able to say that I was his vice principal and his 3rd grade teacher.
Thank you very much, Jasmine, for doing the translation. We appreciate it. We'll now move on to the high school.
We have the pleasure to introduce Abby Long, the high school student. I can get my arms longer, it's not big enough because I wrote a lot. It's from Mr. Sapp. Congratulations, Miss Abby. What a wonderful person she is. Quick to help others, kind to everyone, and incredibly intelligent. Abby's a great candidate for Student of the Month. Naturally, as a younger sibling, there are always comparisons and standards that one has to live up to or feels they need to exceed. Abby has been able to find her own groove and to let her personality pave the way for her own success. As a teacher, if I could communicate one thing to Abby, it is that how much I appreciate who she is as a person, and I will always be grateful to have had her in class. Few people can brighten your day simply with their presence, and Abby is one of those gifted humans. While teachers are not supposed to, or at least it's frowned upon, naturally we have our favorites. Abby, you're my favorite. I don't care who knows it. Congrats, Abby, Mr. and Mrs. Long as well. What a great person. It says, P.S. I really shortened this because there are so many great things this kid has done, and I don't want to be emotional on a Monday. Mr. Sam. So here's the second one, and this proves why she's overcome a lot. So listen to this one. Congratulations, Avalia. A girl without freckles is like a night without stars. It has been an honor to have my daughter as a student for all these years of middle school and high school. She has been our strongest female student in the weight room. She's been fun, hardworking, and pleasant. Her time as a junior cadet Brownie Scout undoubtedly prepared her for success. She decided that chewing on tinfoil and staring at the sun would serve as a conduit for her mental toughness. It appears to have worked. Abby has lived on a farm her entire life. The animals have become her closest friends and confidants. Avalia's favorite food is mayonnaise. Being a Brownie Scout has helped her stay organized in her commitments. She still packs her junior cadet Brownie Scout handbook to all her basketball games and track meets. She even had her mother sew her personal hygiene merit badge on her jersey to let her opponents know that she's not only serious about cleanliness, she's certified as well. Abby has worked hard to maintain a 4.0 GPA throughout her schooling. Her Hello Kitty backpack is mission control for all things school. She still sleeps with a strawberry shortcake nightlight, not because she's afraid of the dark, because the dark is afraid of Abby. Abby comes from a family that's very close. She's been instilled values, ethics, and love in her life. She is wonderful. This I actually believe about this. We are very supportive of her and happy for her success. We're proud of everything you've accomplished in school, Abby, and most importantly, the person you are. I love you, Coach Long. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff on there, but I think we'll end with that.
Can we make a motion to publish that somewhere?
That's
That's a tough order, you did good.
There you go. There you go. For posterity. Sorry, the first one.
We will now move on to the superintendent's report. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to ask our honorees to step out into the hallway and have your pictures taken.
Okay.
Yeah, number 5. Yeah, I get it.
So, if any of you would like to come back to the rest of our meeting, please feel free to go back.
We'll go out after I'm done. We'll go out there after I'm done.
Okay, we will now go on to item number 5, visiting patrons and delegations. Pardon me for skipping that. The first group of BPA state and national competitions.
So first, I just want to thank the school board. A few years ago, we opted to switch over to Idaho BPA instead of Oregon FBLA, and it's been really good. We've been able to support a lot of students. So this year we had 51 in BPA. Some are in class, some are not. We took 31 to state, and we're taking 9 to nationals. Nationals is in Orlando in May, so we're really excited about that. Most importantly, we have 2 students specifically. I'm sure no one's surprised, but Katie Korn and Tyler Young both qualified for nationals in both of their events. In BPA, you can only compete in 2 events, and they both qualified for nationals in both events. So that's really big. And then I just wanted to share with you that Ron Dodge from ODE, he's over CTE at ODE, he sent me an email to congratulate the students on their success and said that he's thankful that we're successful in Idaho BPA, but he misses us competing in Oregon. So it's nice to know that ODE is supportive of our decision to go over to Idaho BPA as well, because we did have to get permission from them to do that. So just thank you for your support, and we'll let you know how we do at nationals. So.
And next is our student representative, Katie.
All right, good evening, everyone. Can I just get one more round of applause for Mrs. Long, because she is just awesome. I love her. But I have some good news and I have some bad news. And it's the same news, it just depends on who you are. This is my last school board report. Next month, during the board meeting, I will be in Florida at Nationals for BPA, and we will have elected our new all-student body team. So, I wanted to, for this presentation, just give you a comprehensive year in review from everything that we've accomplished and in some cases failed to accomplish throughout my time in student council and the high school as a whole. So starting at the very beginning of the year, a couple weeks before school started, I'm a brand new ASB president, and I'm thinking, okay, what can we do to help bring our student council kids together so that we are ready to take this year by the horns? So I called the Longs and I said, hey, you guys have a pond, and I have some student council kids who need a team bonding activity. Can we come swim at your pond? And they said, of course, yes, we'll do hamburgers, whatever. And the first thing that we did together as a student council was an activity that Mr. Sapp came up with for us. And he handed everyone a card, like a playing card, and he asked us all to treat each other based on what we saw on the card. Aces being the lowest, kings being the highest, and to treat everyone based on like what card they had. And we weren't supposed to know what card we had, so we kind of held them up like this, and we all walked around, and we were supposed to treat people really well, give them lots of compliments if they have a king, and then like, I don't know, insult them and their family creatively if they're a 2 or a 3. But we didn't know that Mr. Sapp had given everyone a face card. So we were all treating each other with kindness and respect. And the moral of that story that Mr. Sapp taught us was that truly everyone we interact with, we should treat as if they are the highest caliber of individual. And that's something that was super important for us as leaders. And I've kind of tried to keep that in mind as we've gone throughout our year, that all of these students, whether I agree with what they're bringing to our discussion or not, they are a face card. They are someone who has value, and they are somebody that is deserving of respect and kindness. So, without further ado, after that, we had our first meeting. And the first meeting of the year, we kind of talked about, well, what do we want our expectations to be? What are some things that we want to do this year? We talked a little bit more about leadership and what being a leader means to us. And then we just dove straight into planning homecoming. And I've been on the planning side of homecoming for the past 4 years. And this year was truly just a year like no other. I thought I knew exactly what it felt like to be, quote unquote, in charge of homecoming. But this year, let me tell you, I was not prepared. But we showed up, we did everything we could, and I think that homecoming went super well this year. And one of the best compliments I got was when I was talking to Mrs. Long the week after, and I was just like so wiped out, so exhausted for the whole week after homecoming. And Mrs. Long said, hey, I think that's probably the best homecoming we've had since COVID. And that was one of my moments for me where I was like, yeah, we did do pretty good. But then when I brought everyone together for our post-homecoming wrap-up, I realized that because I had taken a bit of a step back, I wasn't in charge of anything specifically besides the parade like I'd been in the past as a class president. I really found that a lot of the kids that had shown up for student council that year had grown so much just in that week of being on student council for homecoming. And I wrote a scholarship essay about that about a month later, and I talked about how the most valuable lesson that I learned from homecoming was that being in charge and being the one who everyone pats on the back and says, good job, you pulled off something really great, it doesn't feel quite as good as when you know that you gave somebody else those tools that they needed to succeed. So I just loved watching everyone feel really proud of themselves after everything that we accomplished. And so we took a little break. And then after that, we came back and we said, okay, we gotta do something for our veterans. Veterans Day is coming up. And that was also a really special experience for me, where we sat at a table outside a volleyball game the day that we did the Jolene Reese court dedication. And we just kind of talked to these community members who were walking in for the game, and we said, hey, this is what we're doing. We want to make a field of flags out in front of the elementary school to honor our veterans. And there was one community member who would probably kill me if I said his name up here, because he's not that type of guy, but he gave us a $100 bill in our donations when everyone else had been giving us like some quarters or a couple of ones, maybe a 20. And I told him thank you, and he just kind of explained that, you know, he really loves our country and he cares about the freedoms that veterans bring into our country and into our community. And that was another moment where I was like, this is why we do what we do. And I thought about that a lot as we were putting those flags out, because it was kind of a logistical nightmare, if I'm being completely honest, trying to measure like, okay, we have to measure exactly this many feet and this many inches, and to get it so it spaces out absolutely perfectly across the entire fence. And you know what? It didn't turn out perfect, and we broke a couple flags in the process, but we fixed it, and it was okay. We did exactly what we wanted to do, and we honored our veterans. Moving into December, the next thing we had on our agenda was Help Them to Hope, which I'll be honest was another logistical nightmare. We had so many kids on student council that there was just no way we were going to be able to accommodate all of them. Some of them didn't want to be there, and we felt like we had to teach them a lesson about showing up for something you commit to. Others really wanted to be there, and we're like, oh, we have too many people. I don't even remember how we resolved it, but we had a great group of kids who came out to help with Help Them to Hope, and I've already kind of talked through that quite a bit in my presentation right after that, so I won't go through that again, but also a really awesome experience. And then second semester, we've kind of pulled back a little bit, trying to just do a few more behind the scenes things. One of our big things that my ASB team and I worked on was coming up with some actual official bylaws for student council, when we realized that, yeah, we talked about our expectations at the start of the year, but we need these formalized. We need this so that it can stand the test of time once this amazing team that I had with me is all, you know, graduated and in college and doing all these amazing things. We need to give our next group of students something that will give them that framework so that they can succeed just as much as we succeeded, and so that they don't repeat some of the same mistakes that we made. I'll give just an example of that is at the start of the year, you might not have noticed, or maybe you have, I'm a very particular person. So my attendance policy was, you are unexcused from my meeting if you don't tell me or my secretary who's taking attendance where you are and why you're not at the meeting. Well, that worked okay for a couple of meetings, and then we realized the entire girls' basketball team is gone. We all technically know where they are. None of them specifically communicated it with me or with Juliana. I think we can probably excuse them. I don't think we need to be so strict about that. So that was just one change that we made with our bylaws. And now one of the big projects that we're working on is we've actually found a way to get with our elementary schoolers, and it's been awesome. We went during their lunchtime. We took just these small groups of student council kids and we gave them a presentation about their character strong trait of the month. And I was a little bit nervous. I'm not your outgoing elementary school teacher type. I'm much more comfortable if I'm presenting in front of a group of adults or even just kids my own age. So I was a little bit nervous, but it went really well. I was assigned to the 4th and 5th graders because I thought the older the better. Maybe I can work with this. But Abby over there, she had the kindergartners, and she was also in my group for the 4th graders. And she was just telling me how amazing those kindergarten kids were and how they were just interacting really great with all of the high school kids, and they were laughing at the jokes, and we thought that it had achieved the purpose really well, so that gave me a little bit of a boost of confidence there. And then we adapted kind of what we'd done with some of the earlier, or the younger grades earlier in the day, and we performed these little skits about having courage. And the 4th graders, not super interactive, but that's okay. Like I've said a couple times before, you know, things don't always work out, and that's okay, but then those 5th graders absolutely loved it. And I walked away from that, and I was also just kind of the same feeling I had with homecoming. I was like, we really did something here today. We weren't just sitting around in a meeting talking about how we can make the school a better place, how we can help the community. We were actually doing that. And that's really what my whole year in student council was about. And I know that's how it was for the other kids who served on ASB with me, and I'll name drop them, I'll give them shout outs. Valeria, Juliana, Tyler, Brian, and Jenny have all been absolutely awesome this year. So I just want to thank our high school administration and all of you on the board for really giving us kind of what we needed to grow and become so much better as a student council as a whole. And I am so excited to see who next year's president is, because I know that they were here to watch some of the mistakes that I made as president, and we're transitioning with advisors and things like that, and they have this new set of bylaws that it's written in there that if there's something that's not working, you can change it. And I hope that whoever the new student council president is, you'll get to meet them next month because we're doing our elections during that first week of May. I hope that they get as much out of their year as student council president as I did. So with that, huge thank you to all of you again. Kind of sorry you had to listen to these presentations for the entire year, but I don't know, I started to enjoy it by the end. And so for the last time, have a good rest of your meeting and a good evening.
Thank you, ladies. Katie, we appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
The next item, public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Perfect, thank you. I wish Katie was in here because I was very proud of her job at the elementary when she's done with college, but so amazing hearing their journey. Like it really is, and the impact we can have on these kids. Like the high school admin team, the leadership that they've shown, it's been amazing. So I just want to give a big shout out. So first I'd say it's good evening, board and community members. As always, we'll begin with a brief update on our federal programs. While Mr. Murray and his team are currently attending the National Migrant Conference in San Francisco, he did provide me with the following updates, so it's going to be me the whole time. As April 13th through the 15th, the National Migrant Conference, all the migrant staff are attending this valuable event to grow professionally and collaborate with colleagues nationwide. May 14th and 15th, this is a big one, that is our ODE monitoring visit, and we've talked about how we're in monitoring cycle. The Oregon Department of Education will conduct a full review of our federal programs including migrant during that time, so they will be on site. And so look forward to a schedule. I know when they're here doing that, they sometimes want to meet with a couple board members and that, and so we'll let you know on it. June 4th through 27th, we have a migrant summer school like we always have. We're preparing to serve around 100 students this year, with 2 binational teachers from Mexico joining the program, again, to enrich those students' learning. Big, huge news that's going through kind of the district right now. This is it. So recently we completed our ELPA testing for English learners. This week we began our SBAC testing across the district. This is an important time for our schools. It's a time when we can truly showcase the progress, effort, and success of our students, staff, and families. We ask the community to help support students during this time to make sure that they get here every day, they get plenty of rest, and they eat a healthy breakfast. And again, this is one of those kind of a scoreboard moments from us to show, like, this is what our kids are doing. This is all of their hard work. So I'm just, Mr. Pratt and I have been reading about, just like, we cannot wait to show you guys what we've been doing. So look for that coming soon. Just a progress update on that. Next, a quick update on our strategic planning process. I presented the first draft of the strategic plan to the board and admin team last week. The plan is built on feedback from parents, students, staff, and community members, and centers around our 4 main focus areas. And those areas were academic excellence and student success, employee investment, community engagement and resources, and fiscal responsibility and innovation. The board is currently reviewing this draft, and once feedback is incorporated, we'll open it up for our community to review. I want to thank our strategic planning committee for the many hours they put into this important work. We aim to have a final version ready by May to guide our district forward. So, and again, if you guys do have any sort of feedback, please send it to me, call me, anything like that. We're ready to really dig into it. Lastly, a construction update. If you guys haven't seen, the walking path right here in the south playground is done. I saw kids out there running on it today, having a really good time. And so it's not only for the students, but for the public as well after school hours. I want to make that very known. After school hours, come down and use it. Actually, I saw kids just kind of running past my daughter today. I was like, it's amazing. It's like, it's just asphalt on a path. But so then the next phase of the new playground with an outdoor classroom is scheduled to go on in the summer, and everything looks like we're good to go. So that's kind of phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be completed soon. The turf project will break ground shortly after the Don Walker track meet. The contract's all executed in those things, and then so we're going to be breaking ground soon. We'll have a groundbreaking ceremony, and I'll let the board know. So the last one, the middle school sidewalk project, is nearly complete as well. And if you guys saw, the lights are up over there. It's especially for kids in the morning. It's safe. It's actually really amazing. The final drainage and asphalt work will be done next summer, not the one coming up at 25, but 26. So just a heads up on that, and I want to say thank you for your continued support and our shared commitments to making students, to make this a better place every single day. So thank you so much. That's it.
Are there any questions for Ryan? If not, we'll move on to the financial report. Hello, Crystal.
Hello.
Oh no, are you ready for your?
Not yet, but.
Okay, we'll just leave it.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So tonight, in your packets that I emailed to you last week, I have financials of everything through March 31st of this year. First page is always the summary of the general fund, just an overview of what was budgeted versus where we're at. If you flip to the second page, it shows the breakdown per month. A few things to point out, as I've been saying all year long, our state school fund payment's going to get adjusted. It got adjusted. So, our revenue for the month of March was a little bit over 3.7 million. Our expenditures for the month were a little over 2.1. That is bringing our cumulative balance to a little over 3.4 million. We'll carry that forward through June. We'll receive our last state school fund payment for the year next month. Wait, this month? No, May. Gosh, in May. And then we'll use our cumulative balance to pay out everything for fiscal year end. After the general fund operating statement, I always provide the account statement of our district LGIP account. Shows everything that was deposited and withdrawn from that account last month. Following that report is a summary from the county that shows the taxes we received, whether they were current year taxes or prior year taxes. There was an adjustment to current year taxes that we received, and we were issued a credit. But looking at the report, the way I understand it, just looks like a payment might have been applied to current year taxes when it was supposed to be for prior year taxes. So that's just an adjustment, and you'll see that in that report. After that is our middle school bond account. Our current balance is a little over $394,000. We have a debt service payment coming up that we owe in June of about $380,000. So we have the money to make that payment. We'll get that done to close out the fiscal year. After that is our LGIP account statement for our middle school bond. Again, showing what went in the account. A report from the county showing those taxes as well that we received for that account. Following that is our operating statement for our food service. As of March 31st, our revenue we've brought in is a little over $710,000, and our expenditures are a little over $750,000. Payroll report for the month of March is after that. And finally, the approval of the bills report. This is everything that the district paid out from March 4th, and I ran it through April 4th. After the approval of the bills report, there is a sheet, and it is a supplemental hearing. So we need to, as I was saying, our state school fund got adjusted, and so we've received revenue that we didn't anticipate for, nor did we budget for. And so, Ryan, what button do I push? I made a little presentation.
Press the red one down there on the bottom.
Red button.
Okay.
Do you want that?
See me right there, so click my name.
Hit the purple share.
Share.
There you go.
Push this light.
I just, there we go.
Thank you. So I made a little presentation because we don't normally do supplemental budget adjustments to our adopted budgets. So I just wanted everyone to understand what this is, because we have a current fiscal year 25 adopted budget. So supplemental budget, it addresses the increased enrollment that we've had, and it also addresses budget compliance with the state of Oregon. Thank you. So background, where are we from here? Higher student enrollment and notification of grant funds after adoption of our budget. Student enrollment exceeded initial projections from our budget, resulted in additional state school fund revenue that we've talked about all year long. Increased enrollment also increased our expenditures. Total expenditures in our current financials have now exceeded the allowable 10% over the adopted budget. Just read it from here. So why do we need a supplemental budget?
What's rolling on there?
What? Is it going?
No,
Good, right?
there it is.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
takes
okay.
us there.
So Oregon law limits budget overspending to 10% over an adopted budget. And we've currently spent more than 10% in one area of our budget. Exceeding this without a formal adjustment or a supplemental budget will equal a budget violation, which we don't have budget violations. So the supplemental budget is required to, first we gotta recognize the added revenue that we're receiving, and then the supplemental budget gives approval related to the increased expenditures. So the allocation of additional revenue, and this you can reference the actual budget sheet in your packet. So additional state school fund revenue, it's increased a little over $6 million that we've received. We received half of that this month, and we'll get the rest of it next month, over the next 2 months, April and May. In addition, we received additional Title 5B revenue, and that was a little over, or almost $49,000. So the allocation of this revenue, allocating of that $6.1 million, 300 of it to the general fund instruction budget accounts. That supports
increased operational expenses due to our higher enrollment. So our enrollment went up, our expenditures went up. And then the remaining balance of that 6.1 million, 3.1 of that would be transferred to our Fund 440, which is our facilities management fund, and that is to address our facility needs on campus. And then the other grant, the state informed us after the budget was adopted that we would be getting Title 5B funds. And so our current budget that's adopted right now has zero money in that fund. So I'm asking that we increase Fund 266 by $48,950. And just to reference, Title 5B is the Rural and Low Income School Program grant. So why do we need to do this? Well, it keeps us in compliant with the budget law, so we're not breaking any laws. Doing this budget, supplemental budget, aligns our budget with our actual revenues and our needs, and it supports continued student services and our infrastructure. So with that and a supplemental budget hearing, to allow for questions, comments from anyone.
Do we have any questions or comments from either the board or from our people at our board meeting?
What do we do with the 5B grant money?
That is a great question. We could use it, it's really just for academic support. And off the top of my head, I don't know what Mr. Murray wrote in his budget narrative,
So
but I can get back to you.
It's pretty wide open about that. Technology, there's something else we were gonna use with it, but yeah, that's the great part about that grant. We had it 2 years ago. Last year we didn't get it, and so that's why we put zero again for this year, but then late in the game, we said, hey, guess what? We're awarding this now, out of the blue, so great, so.
And then if there's no more questions or comments, this is an action item. I do need board approval. It is not something I have to take back to the budget committee. I just have to present it to our school board.
So we've talked about increasing the savings we have, right? Can't we use some of this money for that? To bump that up toward that ultimate end goal?
We could, however, just where we are financially right now, this is kind of the plan of where the money needs to go to finish out this fiscal year. When Ryan and I present the fiscal year 26 budget, we've both made sure that the standard, the policy that you guys set, we're meeting that and sticking more money in there.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I appreciate that question. Are there any other questions? Do I hear any comment? Any public comment?
Can I go again?
Yes, please.
I'm just looking at the red lines on the second page of this month's budget. So we're about $2 million that we've been overspending our budget since September, right? But we're $2 million, but now we're allocating $6.1 million to make up for $2 million we're falling short.
So we've overspent in our purchase services by $2 million that we have to pay April, and we still owe in May. So that's why I'm allocating the $3 million. So
Okay, so that $3 million is to replenish this
Yes.
$2 million
Yes.
plus.
and to
Okay.
avoid us having a budget violation.
Okay.
So, and if you,
Because we've got some
yeah.
time, months to.
Right.
Got it.
Because we had the increase in student enrollment, which came with costs, and we didn't get adjusted until our March payment, and so we've been paying that cost, and so that's why you see that we're minus $2 million. And then now the state has finally said, okay, we're adjusting that now, we're gonna retro that, so then that's why all that money comes in, and so we go from that big negative. And we've been talking about it for a while, where we're at, to all of a sudden, there's that money that we budgeted on. So
And the $3 million is the $2 million plus projection out to the
Yes.
end of the fiscal year in June.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Got it.
Other questions? Comments? Do I hear a motion then on the supplemental budget?
I move to approve the supplemental budget as presented by Crystal.
It's been moved by Dustin and seconded by Donnie to approve the supplemental Motion carries.
Thank you. Just a quick reminder, SEI deadline is tomorrow, and I believe I checked earlier this afternoon, and there was just one board member left that needed to do it. No names, but there he is. Okay. So Dustin, please make sure you get that done. And then the final page in your packet, I think I've emailed and given this to you guys every single month, but it's just our budget calendar for next year, for our next year budget. Our first meeting is May 6th at 6 o'clock in this room, and we'll have dinner, and it'll be a great time. Can't wait to see you guys.
And you'll remind us again.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Very enthusiastic.
We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Do I hear any comments or questions on the consent agenda? Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as is.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved by Susie and seconded by Megan to accept the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. The motion carries. The next item is old business. First of all, policy updates. Policy EFA, the local wellness program. Both of these items were reviewed in our work session, reviewed quite extensively. Were there any other questions or changes or anything to the local wellness program?
Then Megan, I just want to point out, Megan looked at that student abuse question that we had in the policy, having that number in there for reports to be made, and so it's in there as far as a draft in there. That was our one big question from this one, the number to call, and so that is reflected in that proposed draft. But you won't see that here, but just to know that Megan looked it up here and we got it. We have it ready for you guys next time. So.
Yep, thank you.
Was there anything else that we needed to bring up on those policies? These policies are an action item. Both need to be adopted. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we accept these policy updates.
Do I hear a second?
I'll say.
It's been moved by Susie and seconded by Donnie to accept both of these policy updates. All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Under new business, the next item, during our work session, we were presented the health curriculum that was presented by Ms. Burbank. Were there any questions, other questions that any of us had on that health curriculum? It is an action item. Do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to adopt the health curriculum as presented by Mrs. Burbank.
It's been moved by Megan. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Megan and seconded by Dustin to adopt the health curriculum as presented by Kathleen Burbank. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Next was the integrated programs. That was quite an extensive discussion. Also, were there any questions? Or is there any public comment?
So I have just a quick review of integrated programs just for everybody, and I know in the study session we went over, you know, the kind of the strategies, the budget, all of those things, and so I just have an overview for the public, just to have out there, and so. So what I want to do is provide an overview of our integrated plan, or IP as we call it. It's highlight how we gathered input to build the plan, share the key strategies and initiatives, and review funding allocations, and also invite feedback from the board and community. That is something that we have to present and allow that feedback. And so that's really the purpose for today. So what is the integrated plan? And again, this is very, very, high level, brief overview just to let you know. So there are 3 areas in our IP, which is the student investment account, the SIA, the high school student success, and the early literacy. And those 3 things make up our IP, or integrated programs. As we know, last year was the IG, right? And then before that was just kind of the SIA. And so that is what is in our integrated plan. So how we built the plan, and so what we used was all of those family and community engagement nights, staff and parent surveys, student feedback, community advisory meetings, and leadership team planning sessions. And so if you look at what we did with our strategic plan, we used all that same feedback, some of the things that the elementary did, and we put that into our plan. And so we use that for this, but also for our strategic planning coming up as well. So we tried to find multiple ways to engage people in these things. So here are the strategies that we've highlighted, and you'll see most of the strategies still in line with what we our original plan was, is parent and community engagement, high dosage tutoring, professional development, safe supportive environments, that's a social emotional, community engagement, academic and CT access, college and career readiness, and graduation success. So everything in our plan that we've done, we have to tie to one of these strategies, and you'll see. So like, when we talked about having our district counselor, mental health counselor, is kind of which in these strategies does that live? And so you'll know that everything in our budget, that's where we have to tie it to, and the why for it. We didn't just say, oh, you, there's a reason for it. So here are the funded positions, and there's programs, and of those programs, most of them are used for personnel. So I think about 95, 96% is personnel on that, with obviously benefits and those things. And so our SAA, if you look at it, that's our nurse, our counselors, 2 elementary teachers, reduction of class size was something that we wanted to look at, more SPED support, community connections person, and part of our high school VP and our SRO, or what's actually going to be the SSPS for next year. The high school student success, we have CT course expansion, PBIS activities, and student certifications. And then in our early literacy, we are funding 2 half-time FTE reading teachers, and also they're going to do the high dosage tutoring and coaching for staff. So that's everything in our budget. That's what we're spending on. So if you look at, here is the budget for that SIA, or for the whole IP, or the integrated programs. The SIA, which is $1.5 million, and actually it was a reduction from last year. High School Success Acts is $322,000. Early literacy is $139,000, which is a total of a little over $2 million with $8,000. And so, yes, Crystal?
Ryan, are these numbers for next year or current year?
They are for next year.
Thank you.
So, sorry about that. That's why I'm presenting the plan, telling you guys, here's our plan, here's where we're going. That's why we're presenting that to the public, because as we know, the SIA is that capital investment. It is the capital tax, right? And so that's where it comes from. So we want to inform the public of this extra money that those businesses are being taxed. This is how our community is spending those monies. And so that's why you'll see that's why we're presenting it, and want to be very transparent with communities. Like, those monies are going towards kids. So thank you, Crystal, for clarification on that. So that's where the total is $2 million. And there might be a change in this, as we know, next year with still like early literacy and those things. Those bills are still coming through, but this is our best guess right now. That's what we've validated. So with that, the basic overview of everything is our next step is we're going to submit the updated IP to ODE with our board minutes showing that not only did we present, but we have left open public comment. We're going to continue our implementation and monitoring the success of those initiatives. invite board and community feedback, which I'm gonna do here in a second, and really just say, do you guys have any thoughts, ideas, concerns about strategies, funding allocations, or areas to focus more on? And so, before we move to I ask for board action, I'm gonna actually open it up to public comment or questions or anything else, so.
How will the early learning, or how might that impact this if it actually?
Of the early literacy grant, they might actually increase that. And so at the time, Shane and I have been working closely together. What we do is we have, like, not only do we have this, but we have some things like this year we had a bunch of things we wanted to send home, some reading materials, some other coaching opportunities for families as well. So we have a path. If we get more money, we're ready to spend it. So, yeah. Great question. Thank you. Yes, Crystal.
It's my understanding that early literacy money was only supposed to be spent or focused on K through 2nd this year.
Yeah.
Does next year, do we get to add another grade, or are we still focusing just on K to 2?
So our focus is K2, but we're actually allowed to expand it to K5, and that is kind of based on the needs of it, of our elementary, and so, but the focus is still K2, because we want to get those kids up to grade level by 3rd grade. And that's one of the main measures, and that's what it is, right, is reading level by 3rd grade is a predictor of success. Their chance of graduating actually like doubles or something like that. It's crazy. So, but yes, great question on that. We can actually even use some preschool with it as well. So.
Another question?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It said 2 elementary teachers, so I was just curious what that.
It's 2.5
well,
for the early literacy. Oh, for the SIA.
Yeah.
So what we do, and that is actually, if you look at our K2 when we added in kind of the 5 teachers, and I think actually there's one there and there's one in 5th grade that we did as well to reduce those class sizes.
Okay,
that's
so
what
we're
paid
next.
on. So yeah, those will continue because we did it again this year. We added it in this year, so the model is going to actually look exactly the same for next year. So we're not adding more teachers next year; it's the same.
So there'll be a teacher, because the 4th grade classes are pretty big, so will there be an extra teacher in 5th grade?
So, and that's what we're looking at funding wise, is that we don't really quite have enough to carry 5 full teachers for both those grade levels. So what we're going to do is actually maybe do a halftime, a 4-5 split for 4th and 5th grade. And so we're looking at that, and I know the chain has been communicating with the staff and looking at it. Go ahead.
If I could answer that one, because we have been, Mr. Hawkins and I previously have been discussing what our numbers are rolling up for, and it is to alleviate class size numbers, and it looks like that is going to be a 4th grade position, so there'll be 5 4th grades next year, because our numbers next year for 5th grade actually go down a bit, and so we will not need a 5th grade teacher.
But isn't the 4th grade class really big? So if they're going
They have 24 as their max size in the current numbers that they have, 24, 23, and then they have 19 and 16 in the dual language classes. As to where the 3rd grade coming up to 4th grade next year is over 90 students. So they will need another, and we were talking possible split, but it just justifies having a 5th grade, 4th grade teacher, and then our 5th grade classrooms would be currently, then with 5, they have 14 students in some of their classes, 14 and 15 students with 19 and 18 in the dual language classes. So there'll be 24, 23, which is not huge, but for 5th grade, manageable, with an additional assistant that we have, Ms. Book and Ms. Book has helped dedicate kind of an assistant to make sure that those 4 classrooms have support. But keeping 5 classroom teachers in each grade level would be our ultimate goal. And if we get any more money, a 5th grade teacher, so that every grade level has 5, so we're not playing the juggling game all the time, would be awesome. But I know that that's a big dream, and we do have to be fiscally responsible and have to account for numbers. And so our dedication for our class sizes is really through that K2, making sure those numbers we're incredibly high intense of getting the literacy whether it be Spanish or English, effective in those grade levels, so those kids are succeeding, because then it does take the burden and load off of our third, fourth, and fifth grade. If our kids are reading, that's gonna help a ton. So our investment is at the K2 and trying to then manage the 3, 4, 5 with adequate numbers. That help?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Candy, I appreciate your question.
In your presentation, I thought it said something about CTE certifications. And I'm curious if you could explain what certifications in those programs of focus the students.
So what we do is we pay for them to take their tests.
Okay, because I know like certain ones, like the welding
Yeah.
is obvious, nursing, but what certifications does like construction, agriculture, and business specifically? Maybe that's Mr.
We
Clear.
had some of those.
Yeah.
Obviously, the welding's an easy one, right? In terms of certifications, right? That goes through Treasure Valley. We go over and test and pay people to proctor that, and the ESD helps with that process too. What we're working on is in the programs that don't provide a certification right now, we're working on a portfolio process with our CTE group. So when the kids finish, like let's say for example, they go through the Paxton-Patterson labs in Construction 1, Construction 2. There's not a certificate they get, but they complete that. So what we're doing is putting a portfolio process to go through and say, for example, I completed like a 3-way switch, right? I know how to wire a 3-way switch, right? I know basic HVAC is what I need to know. I know how to do the following. So those kids don't have a certification process, but we're putting together a portfolio process, and that's what our CTE PLC group's working on. So in areas that they don't get certification, they're able to get those. So we're working on that. And some of the nursing stuff, they don't necessarily get their certifications. That's the same deal. There's a process, right?
Thank you.
And
So if they don't get a CNA, for example, right, completed, they'll be able to at least show, hey, I did the following, right? In medical terminology, I learned the following, right? In phlebotomy, I learned the following, even if they don't get the phlebotomy certificate. Does that make sense? And so we'll be able to show that process.
And we're also expanding some options, and Nilda from the ESD will be coming and expanding those options and looking to how to get certifications through that. It's actually one of the largest growing ones, and so we'll be able to help pay for that as well.
There's definitely areas of focus. Kids you want to be able to show a certificate, right? It's no different than the syllabi literacy. Like we're working pretty hard to get options for kids that don't pass their state exam to still show proficiency in English, because we had quite a few kids that did the Advent test, right, and passed, that don't have a passing test score. I think there's 4 of them currently. They're missing one area of study, like the reading, writing, listening, and speaking. They're missing one of those areas that we're trying to find a process. So certifications are definitely something that we're focused on at the high school right now in lots of areas. And if we can't get a certificate, being able to show proficiency in that area to be able to take for a job interview or apply for a job, right? And bring, hey, I don't have a certificate in this, but I've at least been on a forklift, right? I've at least been on a tractor. I've at least been on a, that's what we're hoping for, yeah.
And I think today we actually had our first person earn their seal by literacy today. That's what Jacoby was telling me, or Mr. Hernandez. And so, and like I said, there's 4 altogether, but that's looking like we're in the process of getting those 4 done. So, yeah.
And we are also just kind of CT track. We're on it. Montessa Young's going to do an additional computer class next year, so it'll be a 3 series. So it'll give us a qualifying program of study within that area, right? And so that's one thing we're looking at doing too. So, yeah, Mr. Jackman says in Python coding, right? So.
Other questions, comments?
And that's why the portfolio process, yeah, expenses.
This item needs.
Yes, it is an action item to approve the plan.
So in that case, do I hear a motion from the board to approve this, the integrated programs?
I make a motion to approve the integrated programs.
Do I hear? It's been moved by Susie and seconded by Maribel to approve the integrated program as presented. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. The motion carries. The next item under new business is the superintendent contract. And actually, this is kind of a misnomer. What we would like to do is to establish a committee to negotiate on behalf of the board. I propose that I be on part of that committee. I would like 2 other board members. We have a maximum of 3. Do I have any volunteers?
Who are you volunteering for? Exactly.
To negotiate with
Yeah,
Mr.
to
Hawkins.
negotiate with Mr. Hawkins.
I'll do it. Come on, Susie. Come on.
In that case, we have 3, myself, Susie, and Jasmine. And that will be our negotiating committee, and we will begin soon.
It'll be a long, arduous process, and it'll be enjoyable.
So, next we'll move on to board report. On May 5th, there is at Four Rivers Cultural Center a CTE ceremony, which basically is honoring the CTE program participants and I don't want to call them graduates, but the individuals who receive their certifications. It is at least Ontario, Vail, and Nissa. Does it include other?
I think it has Adrian Harper is in there as well. Do you know, Mr. Cleaver? I think
This
it is.
guy's Ben, that's
I think
guy's
it's all
Ash.
county.
It's the whole county.
Yeah.
It is the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
county?
And Huntington as well.
Everyone within the Mount Airy City group.
No, great. I would like to let all the board know and our public. I attended, I believe last year, and it was, it's kind of inspiring. So please keep that in mind. May 5th at 6 o'clock at Four Rivers.
And Mr. Hawkins is taking the.
Yes, I will then take over anybody that wants to go.
Okay.
So you leave no one to write.
Yes, I'm taking Luke in town. We'll just all go together and we agree. Yeah, we'll probably leave here about 5:15, 5:20, somewhere around there.
Okay, so meet here shortly after 5. And if you do plan to go, please let the superintendent know or Megan know. Because May 5th is our usually our work study session, instead we will have a 6 o'clock study session prior to our regular meeting, which will be May 12th.
In my head, I
Yes.
was using my fingers. Yes,
Yes.
it's 12. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it will be the 12th.
Okay, so please write that down. We'd have our work session an hour before our regular session. The next item is the SEI, Dustin, which is due tomorrow. And then board scholarship nominations need to be in to Megan by the 18th. So I'm reminding all of us to get that done. I would like to just say that for our own edification that the rural scholarship training session is going to be May 22nd at 6 o'clock. It will be available by Zoom if we can't meet here, or if you can't meet here.
You won't miss a delicious dinner, just to give you a heads up if you want to make it.
What day was that again?
22nd of May.
Of May, thank you.
And then one last item. Secretary's Day is Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yes. It's next Wednesday. But because the board is all here tonight, we are honoring Megan was on track and timely. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the red noses.
You got to send it to the council team, I didn't think so.
Well, thank you.
Let's give her a.
Okay, is there anything else we need to discuss, bring up?